They told you to fix your thoughts, manage your emotions, and visualize success. But what if all that noise is just distracting you from the one truth no one ever taught you? You're not your thoughts. You're the one who watches. And that silent awareness, that's where the real power lives. Carl Jung didn't just play with dreams and symbols. He cracked open the architecture of the human mind and revealed something radical. True transformation begins when you become the observer of your own inner chaos. Most people live trapped in reactions, arguing with the past, fearing the future, and calling it life. But the observer archetype breaks that trance. It's not about escaping pain, it's about watching it dissolve. And here's the kicker. The moment you observe without judgment, everything starts changing. Your emotions, your body, your health, your entire vibration. It sounds mystical, but science backs it. Quantum physics calls it the observer effect. Jung called it individuation. You'll call it coming home to yourself. So if you're still trying to heal, manifest, or make sense of your journey, maybe it's not about doing more. Maybe it's about seeing more. This video dives deep into the psychology of the observer archetype, the hidden mechanics of perception, and how this silent presence within you can rewrite your destiny, starting now. The power of thoughts in shaping reality and health. Every thought you have is more than just noise in your mind. It's a contract you sign with the universe. Whether you're aware of it or not, your inner dialogue is constantly shaping the reality you live in. That whisper of self-doubt or that surge of optimism, both send out energetic signals that either build or break down the framework of your life. Carl Jung wasn't kidding when he said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." But if you zoom out a bit, you'll realize that what you think often becomes what you do. That's the blueprint of manifestation at work, right there. Thoughts operate like invisible architects of health. When you repeatedly think in patterns of fear, guilt, or hopelessness, it's not just your mood that suffers. It's your immune system, your energy levels, your cellular regeneration. This isn't fluffy talk. Studies in quantum physics and psychosomatic medicine have shown how negative thoughts lower your vibrational frequency and affect the body's electromagnetic field. It's as if your cells are listening to your self-judgment and responding with fatigue, inflammation, or worse. Ever noticed how stress leads to colds or burnout? That's not coincidence, it's consequence. But here's the twist. Thoughts can also be medicine. Just as negativity can be toxic, hope, gratitude, and self-trust can activate healing. When someone believes in recovery, their body often follows suit. This isn't magic, it's neuroplasticity in action. The mind-body connection is real, and it's powerful. Want proof? Look up Dr. Joe Dispenza's research on healing through elevated emotions and focused thought. Want practice? Start journaling daily 3 empowering beliefs you want your cells to memorize. That's mental alchemy. Of course, none of this means you'll never have negative thoughts again. You're human, not a machine. But you can start discerning which thoughts to entertain and which to let pass like clouds. The trick is awareness, becoming the observer. That's where Jungian psychoanalysis meets practical philosophy. When you notice a recurring thought that drains your energy, ask yourself, whose voice is this? Society's? My parents'? My ego's survival instinct? Most of the time, you'll find it's not even yours. So, when people talk about manifesting abundance or achieving inner peace, it all begins here, with perception. Thoughts are seeds. Some bloom into joy, others into disease. Which ones are you watering right now? Once you grasp this, the next layer of understanding unfolds. Not just how your thoughts create, but how your emotions amplify. That's where the real power lies. Emotions as catalysts for disease or healing. Let's talk about emotions, not as fleeting feelings, but as biochemical messengers that shape your entire physiology. Every emotion you feel, from grief to gratitude, releases a cascade of chemicals in your body that either support vitality or deplete it. Think of emotions as energetic signatures that ripple through your meridian system, lighting up or short-circuiting your inner circuitry. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He knew that what remains unconscious often manifests as fate, and emotions are the language through which that fate speaks. Negative emotions like resentment, fear, and shame aren't just bad vibes. They are low-frequency energy fields that disrupt cellular harmony. Chronic anger doesn't just make you irritable. It messes with your blood pressure, digestion, and immunity. Repressed sadness doesn't just disappear. It burrows into the unconscious and often emerges later as depression or chronic fatigue. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget, and unless you transmute that energy, it becomes a slow-burning fire under your health. Now here's the twist. Positive emotions aren't just nice to have, they're biochemical gold. When you experience love, joy, or gratitude, your body releases endorphins, oxytocin, and dopamine. These aren't just feel-good chemicals. They regulate stress, enhance immunity, and promote cellular regeneration. That's why simple practices like laughing, dancing, or keeping a gratitude journal aren't trivial. They're forms of emotional medicine. If you're serious about healing, start with emotions that uplift and expand. For example, when someone forgives, their body often lets go of chronic tension. You don't have to wait for therapy to feel better. Start by writing a letter you never send, or by doing a visualization that rewires how you relate to past pain. Emotional healing doesn't mean erasing the memory. It means changing the meaning. And guess what? That shift in meaning affects your energy, your nervous system, your immune response. That's how you regain your inner power, by taking responsibility for your emotional landscape. Emotions are teachers, not enemies. They exist to show you where healing is needed and where inner alignment is missing. Once you learn to decode their messages instead of suppressing them, your entire inner life transforms. And this is where energy and consciousness begin to merge with biology, where the invisible starts becoming visible through the body signals. If you're still with me, it's time we go even deeper into what this energy flow means in your journey of transformation. Energy, consciousness, and the mind-body connection. Everything is energy. That's not a spiritual slogan. It's quantum physics 101. You, your thoughts, your emotions, even your symptoms, are energetic expressions of consciousness playing through a human instrument. Carl Jung once hinted that the psyche is reality. And when we begin to understand ourselves as energetic beings, we stop treating the body like a broken machine and start treating it like a symphony in need of tuning. The way your energy flows, or gets blocked, tells you everything about your current state of harmony. This is where things get juicy. When your thoughts create mental tension, and your emotions add fuel to the fire, your body doesn't stay quiet. The meridian system, those energy pathways mapped in ancient Chinese medicine, acts like an internal highway. But trauma, stress, and unresolved shadow work clog those roads. Headaches, fatigue, digestive issues. Sometimes they're not just physical. They're blocked chi. They're the unconscious asking to be acknowledged. And if ignored long enough, those energetic imbalances manifest as disease. Think of it like a garden hose. If you twist it or step on it, the water can't flow. That's your energy when emotional pain goes unexpressed, or when you live disconnected from your purpose. Practices like acupuncture, Reiki, Qigong, or even breath work aren't just woo-woo tools. They restore energetic balance. They tap into your nervous system and help rewire subconscious patterns that drain your vitality. Want something simple? Try 5 minutes of deep diaphragmatic breathing before sleep. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system and boosts healing. But don't think energy is just about fixing illness. It's also about expanding consciousness. When your energy flows freely, you become more intuitive, more present, more aligned. You start recognizing synchronicities, picking up on subtle cues, feeling what's right without needing proof. That's not magic. It's a regulated nervous system operating in harmony with a conscious mind. Energy is how the unconscious speaks, and the more you tune in, the less chaos you feel in your body and mind. Once you begin to see yourself as an energetic system, you'll stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What am I not listening to?" The body whispers before it screams. And the real mastery begins when you stop silencing those whispers and start integrating them. But to do that, you'll need to face something even deeper: the mental constructs and unconscious programs you've unknowingly inherited. Mental constructs and the impact of subconscious patterns. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't realize they're living inside a mental cage built by someone else. We're not born with self-doubt, guilt, or toxic perfectionism. We learn them. From childhood, we absorb ideas about who we should be, how we ought to behave, and what makes us worthy. These mental constructs get stored in the subconscious, and over time, they become our invisible operating system. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the rejected parts of ourselves we disown to fit in and survive. But the shadow doesn't disappear. It leaks into your thoughts, choices, and physical health. That unexplained fatigue could be your body exhausted from holding repressed rage, chronic illness. Sometimes it's grief that never got permission to speak. Trauma, when unprocessed, becomes trapped energy, and your nervous system carries the burden. Emotional healing begins when you recognize that your suffering isn't weakness. It's a signal. A signal that some part of your psyche is fighting for integration, wholeness, and dignity. You can't outthink the shadow, but you can learn to listen to it. Try this. Next time you feel triggered or overly reactive, pause and journal the voice behind it. Ask, whose voice is this? What memory is it tied to? That alone is powerful shadow work. And if you're serious about reclaiming your energy, dig deeper with tools like active imagination, as Jung taught, or somatic therapy, which connects mind and body through sensation. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about befriending the parts you were told to hide. Integration is liberation. When you face the inner critic, the abandoned inner child, the angry rebel, all of them, you don't become broken. You become whole. The self, in Jungian psychoanalysis, is not some polished ideal. It's the union of all you are, conscious and unconscious. Healing happens when you stop identifying solely with the mask and start embodying your full humanity. That's what individuation is, a return to inner truth beyond conditioning, expectation, or judgment. Still, many wonder, how do I know if I'm really changing? How do I measure this growth? And that's where we begin to meet the edge of metaphysics, the space where science, spirit, and consciousness collide. Because when you shift internally, the world around you starts shifting too. That's the observer effect in action. The observer effect and the science of self-healing. Imagine this. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, but the act of looking changes what you see. That's not just poetic, it's quantum physics. The observer effect tells us that the very act of observing something influences its behavior. In the realm of healing, this means your awareness is not passive, it's transformative. Carl Jung knew this before science caught up. He taught that consciousness changes what it touches. So when you begin to observe your pain with curiosity instead of fear, something subtle but powerful starts to shift. Your beliefs, your inner environment, even your perception of time, all of these shape your physical reality. That's why two people can go through the same illness, yet one recovers and the other deteriorates. The difference? Not just medication, but mindset. Self-awareness, gratitude, faith, and purpose are not luxury accessories. They are essential components of healing. Just as the placebo effect shows the body responds to belief, the nocebo shows it responds to doubt. The body listens to your convictions, whether you whisper them or scream. So, what if disease isn't just a malfunction, but a message? What if symptoms are the soul's way of pointing to where growth is needed? This is not about blame. This is about awakening. The body doesn't betray you. It reflects you. That back pain might be unresolved burden. That autoimmune flare, a war within. And while doctors and medicine are vital, so is your role as an active co-creator of your healing. Your perception creates ripples through your cells. And every shift in consciousness opens a door to a different outcome. Now don't get twisted. This isn't about toxic positivity or ignoring real pain. It's about embracing pain with purpose. Spiritual alignment doesn't mean floating above suffering. It means diving into it with presence and courage. Tools like meditation, visualization, affirmations, or energy healing are ways to enter that sacred inner space where transformation begins. If you want your outer world to change, your inner world must evolve first. And the more you observe, the more you awaken the dormant healer within. In the end, your mind isn't just a thinker, it's a projector. Your thoughts, emotions, and awareness shape the lens through which reality is perceived. But behind the thoughts, behind the emotions, there is something watching, something timeless. And now that we've arrived here, it's time to explore that archetype, the one who stands in the stillness, silently shaping destiny, the observer. So now that you've seen how thoughts shape your biology, how emotions sculpt your energy, and how awareness itself rewrites your reality, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you keep letting old mental constructs run your life on autopilot? Or will you finally take the wheel and become the observer of your own destiny? Healing doesn't start with control, it starts with attention. And your attention is sacred. The moment you choose to see, you begin to shift. What if disease was never your enemy, but your body's cry for a new way of being? What if every trigger, every low mood, every physical symptom was a spiritual breadcrumb leading you home? Look around. Your environment is talking to you. Your nervous system is listening. The question is, are you listening? Are you brave enough to slow down, breathe, and witness yourself? Without judgment, without labels, without escape? Here's the truth. Most people won't do this work. They'll stay stuck, chasing answers outside while ignoring the voice inside. But not you. You've already crossed the threshold. You're not here by accident. And if this message resonated, if even one sentence cracks something open, don't let that spark die. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What hit you the hardest? What did you realize? And don't forget to subscribe and activate the notifications, because this journey into consciousness, healing, and transformation is just getting started.